I got suckered by another trailer, basically. What's up, everybody? Back today to talk about The Lazarus Effect, and I could barely remember the name as I walked up to the theater to buy my ticket. I just remembered it had the word Lazarus in it, which has been overused to hell in everything, you know, sci-fi to horror, anything that involves resurrecting the dead. But let's get into The Lazarus Effect, directed by some guy that made a bunch of food documentaries and written by some other guys. And it's produced by Jason Blum, that Blumhouse Pictures. I think the only good thing they ever did was Sinister, but yeah. So the film stars Mark Duplass and Olivia Wilde, and basically they're scientists. They're working on this Lazarus project thing where, of course, they're trying to bring dead things back to life. Obviously, they've never seen a horror movie. And, of course, if you've seen the trailer, shit goes haywire, and they have to bring Olivia Wilde back from the dead. And, of course, when she comes back, she's not exactly the same as when she left. And from there, things descend into PG-13 madness, basically. That's the best way to describe it. I didn't realize it was PG-13 also until I bought my ticket, and not that I really have a thing against PG-13 horror movies, I just can't think of any off the top of my head that I really liked. So let's get into the good and the bad. If you've seen the trailer, you kind of know where the story goes, but the only good thing about this movie is kind of the performances between Mark Duplass and Olivia Wilde. They play a couple, of course they're scientists. And, you know, Olivia Wilde looks great when she's in evil mode. She looks great when she's not in evil mode. Of course, the cliche of the beautiful female scientist. Their performance, their chemistry kind of works a little bit. That's the only thing that is kind of good about this movie. Also, Evan Peters, who I'm not really a big fan of, makes an appearance in this movie. He's like the pothead co-scientist or whatever in the lab, and he's basically the brains of the operation. If you pay attention, he's the only one that figures out anything about anything going on in this movie, which I thought was funny. The performances are the only good parts. The writing is generic as hell. I mean, they probably wrote this script in like 10 minutes. I mean, at least the concept. It has the weakest freaking concept. We've seen it a million times. Yeah, they come back from the dead. They're not all right. And then from there, this one just descends into almost like a possession type film. It just has bad cliches left and right. I wrote a couple of them down. The blacked out eyes, the beautiful scientist, which I already mentioned, dream sequences, cheesy twist reveal at the end that you can see coming literally from the first 5 minutes of the movie. And then they have this stupid underdeveloped subplot, which I thought was going to go someplace to explain this other pharmaceutical corporation's kind of involved in the story for a few minutes just to drive the story a little bit farther, and it never really comes up again. And they just have a couple, yeah, undeveloped subplots. One of the subplots I thought for sure was going to go someplace, and it didn't go anywhere. I don't know if they were just too lazy to write it. Maybe they just didn't want to have one more cliche in this movie. I don't know. And then another thing is the building they're trapped in. Of course, they get trapped in their lab with Olivia Wilde, and it's stupid. It's one of these things where they're trapped in a building. They kind of explain why they're trapped in it because it's a lab and it has like shut down things or whatever that isolate contaminants. But then they're not really shut down that much into one area, so they can go to where they need in the building to basically get enough stuff to push the story farther enough. It's just kind of annoying. It pisses me off every time. I'm like, they can't run across one window they can break. I mean, one fire exit that's open. I mean, I can understand if they're actually trapped in a room. That'd be one thing, but they're literally trapped on like a floor of a building. Kind of stupid. I mean, it's a nitpicking at this point, but the movie left me bored, so it left me nothing to do except nitpick at it, basically. You know, the PG-13ness is just stupid because if you're going to do a movie like this involving death, you know, hell, all this stuff, make it R-rated. You know, the part where it suffers is stupid because they have to use an AED on Olivia Wilde. She gets shocked, which, you know, if you've seen the trailer, shows it, and then they leave her bra on. I'm like, unless her bra didn't contain any metal, the doctor should have known to take that off. Another nitpick is that this girl dies in the lab and there's 4 people there that witness it. Not one of them tries to get on their cell phone and call the cops. And I was just like, what the fuck? It's just like they just skipped over that part. They kind of mentioned it later, but I'm like, nobody even took out their cell phone to try to call and someone stopped them. I was like, they just were like, oh, there's a dead body, and they sat around for 10 minutes, let the scientists decide what he wanted to do. I was like, nobody reacted by calling the paramedics, you know, just because they couldn't bring him back to life. I don't know. You might want to let someone else try. So yeah, the Lazarus Effect, the Lazarus blah blah, the Lazarus full of cliches, the Lazarus full of cliched effect. Yeah, that's it. Tell me what you thought down below if you've seen it. I'm only giving it 2 out of 5. I don't think it's worth theater prices. I don't think it's worth even matinee prices. If you get it for $1 at Redbox, maybe. If you see it on Netflix, it's included in your subscription, watch it, maybe. It's not very good. I mean, the deaths suck, the possession part sucks, the hell part sucks, the twist sucks. The only good part is Olivia Wilde looking evil. Let me know what you thought down below. I'll see you soon.